Is there anything you miss about Korea?
I'd like to go back. Incheon area especially.
What do you miss about it?
I'd like to see Kisoon.
He seems to have made a really big impression on you.
He did.
Can you maybe talk about that a little bit, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Like, what was it about him that made such an impression about you?
He worked in our outfit. He was real likable. He was only 18 years old. And just as nice as he could be.
Oh. And just that genuine sincerity and kindness just really touched you in a way.
And he could talk just as good English as I'm talking.
It always makes it easier, definitely. Ooh.
Did he ever talk about his family?
No. I suppose he had a family, but I really don't know.
I imagine. Mm-hmm.
The girl that worked in our operations office, I never really got acquainted with her real well, but of course she could talk English as good as I can, and she run our typewriter, did all the typing for our operations office. I don't remember her name anymore. Down in Busan, we had a Korean woman running our switchboard. And she always answered the switchboard when a call would come in, "Hello, operation." She wouldn't say operator, she'd just say operation. But the master sergeant would not leave her alone. And finally, one day he was giving her a lot of trouble, and the captain walked in and they fired her. He thought it was her fault. It was ridiculous.
So he had it in for her. He had it in for her. He didn't like her.
The captain?
Well, whoever you said was on her all the time.
Oh, he was just having fun with her, but he carried it too far.
Yeah.
The master sergeant, he was actually the first sergeant.
That's a shame.
And the captain thought she was at blame and fired her.
That's a shame.
So she had to turn to prostitution to make a living.
Oh.
That's even worse.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And how did you find that out?
Because she came around and says, fuck you, $5.
That's a shame.
Sad.
You know, because, I mean, well, you know, sexism is an awful thing, but, you know, when you have a society where, you know, basically women aren't permitted to do anything, and then they turn to prostitution, and then they're demonized for becoming prostitutes when they can't do anything else. You know, it's a vicious circle. It's very unfortunate.
There was one time I was out, I don't remember this, I think this was
excuse me.
But this guy was all bent over, and his tongue was hanging out of his mouth, and he could tell he couldn't do anything. And they called him a beggar. Well, of course he was. He couldn't work. And his body was all quivery, and
jeez. Yes.
And I saw two guys get in a fight there in Incheon. And one got the better of the other one. I thought he was going to kill him. And he just about did.
Yeah.
Because they use what they call taekwondo over there.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty vicious.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. That's a fighting. I think it uses a lot of kicks.
Yeah. Kicks and whack.
Yeah. Whereas we're more boxing types. It's definitely. I guess it's always important to remember that no matter where you are, humans are we're all really kind of similar. You know, when it comes to when we act out or when we, you know, want to fight or, you know, it's like people are kind of the same everywhere.
And there's a lady and her 2 dogs.
Oh, thank you. So then, I actually had another question about Kim. It was Kim Kisoon, correct? Okay. Was he a local to, you said you met him in Incheon.
In Incheon.
He was a local to that area?
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested because, like, I have, some professors and some other people I know that are over there right now, and it's like if I can get any kind of information, because I can't look in those archives.
Oh.
Because I tried to search for some information, and I found a few women with that name in this country, but I can't read the Korean alphabet. And then my friends that are over there, like, getting into government files and stuff is kind of a gray, difficult area. So I thought it's like, okay, if I can get this kind of information out. Do you know what might have happened to him after you left? Yeah.
I assume he stayed with our company as long as it was over there.
Did you ever write a letter to him?
He wrote one to me, and through a private Lawrence Gray, and I can't remember if I answered it or not.
You probably did. Was that sent to South Bend?
Probably. His name is Kim, K-I-M, then it's K-I, and then S-O-O-N, Kisoon.
And was Kisoon his surname or his first name?
No, that's his given name.
Okay, all right, so his...
Kim is see, they're over there, their last name comes first.
Right.
Now over here, it would be last.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure, like, if
So
you were saying it like, if his first name being first or his last name, like, yeah.
So Kim is the last name.
Kisoon is his given name.
Cool. Okay.
Kim is his family name.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then, so how long were you in Korea?
16 months.
16 months, wow. And then, so then, when did you, or what year was it then by the time you left? Was it 54 then?
Yeah, I got over there in 53, spent the first 4.5 months in Pusan, and then after the armistice was signed between the two, North and South, they quit. Well, they still kept shooting at one another occasionally, but after the main shooting was done, then they moved our company up to Incheon, the main body, and left a detachment in Pusan. And we moved up there and started working on
Bridges?
the port.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And we had some people that lived right on the barges down at the bar. They stayed right on the barges that we had. We had a ship that was sunk out there in Incheon Harbor. They were trying to get it out of there. It was stuck in the mud. And they took we had two D8 and a DC D4 crawler tractor, bulldozer type. Caterpillar tractors. And they parked the D8 out near the water's edge and ran the cable out and hooked onto some of the pieces of this ship. And then they took the cable from the D6 and attached it to the D8 to help hold it.
Oh, okay.
And one of the close friends of mine, a farm boy from Guthrie Center, Iowa, was on the D8. The cable snapped. Whew, right past his head.
Oh,
It hit him and it killed him.
Oh, it hit him?
It didn't. It didn't hit him.
Oh, I was going to say,
He
like...
felt the wind.
Whoa.
Oh.
Wow, he got lucky.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it snapped, it was like, oh no, I can only imagine what happened to that poor kid.
And what caused the ship to sink? They got in the
It
mud
was sunk when
by the enemy?
when the Chinese came down, and I don't know whether we sunk it or whether they sunk it.
Well, why was it one of our ships?
So it wouldn't get into enemy hands, I suppose.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then
Well, you don't know for
MacArthur
sure.
turned
Okay.
around and cut him in two at Incheon.
Now, what type of ship was this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So we finally ended up just going out there with underwater torches and cutting it up, and
Destroyed it.
So while all this was going on, even though the armistice had been signed, the Chinese were coming down and kind of harassing you guys?
no, they didn't seem to. Well, if they were, it was up. 38th parallel was about 20 miles north of us.
Okay.
And I don't know how much was going on up there, because
Oh, okay.
the only time I was up there was when I went up to see my brother-in-law Albert Walton, and it was north of Seoul a ways. I don't remember just how far anymore, but went by a sign on the way up there with donut shop recommended by Duncan Hines.
Wow.
Gravel road all the way, and they was rebuilding the corner curve in the road, and a bunch of Koreans with these racks on their back. And in one area they were shoveling clay and stone onto these racks, and when they'd get up to where they were at, they'd go like that and dump it. And that's how they were rebuilding that corner. There was a bunch of guys
Wow.
dog trotting.
Yes.
I don't know how many of them was in the group, but it was a string of them.
And
I
so-
never will forget when the first time, well, one of the times when I went up as a courier up from Busan to Incheon, there was a Korean picked up one of those footlockers of rifles on his back. He had on his back.
Wow.
I've got one of those carriers here that.
Those are
So,
pretty good size, aren't they?
Oh yeah, but this one here's just a little one to show you what they look like.
Oh.
And he had all he could do to pick it up, but he finally did. I guess it weighed 400 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
What did it weigh?
400 pounds.
He's a freaking Superman.
You
He's
just
like,
see
whoa.
the muscles in his legs bulge when he picked that thing
I
up.
bet. Wow. Yikes. He got his
He
workout
walked off
for the
with
day.
it finally, but he had a whale of a time picking it up, but he finally did.
Was
Wow.
he a large man?
Oh, no. About my size, not any
Oh,
bigger.
my goodness.
Stocky little teapot.